way. And I think everything just blossoms from there. That would be my tip.
What a great tip. And why is it, and I think I believe Tom's back. Tom, why is it so many people think networking means sales? Networking means I got to close this. I got to ask for the business. You're at a meeting, like here we are having drinks or we're skiing somewhere or something like that, and I'm going to go into some weird pitch. Why can't we just get to know each other like they were doing down there? Tom, what's your thoughts? And where you been, man? What the heck? He was traveling the country. He's on location. So what's going on, man?
I was away for the long weekend. Actually, Becky, we were up in Canada. Becky ran the Ottawa Marathon last weekend, and so I was away for the long holiday weekend. Made it into a little vacation, to answer, that's where I've been. And then this morning, I was just having some technical difficulties. It happens to the best of us every once in a while. You just try to work through it. Managed to get it all working. We're back. We're live streaming. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, live streaming all over the place, bringing this room and all the amazing folks that spend time with us here out to as many people as we can. To answer your question, Dom, I think people get confused. There's a huge people conflate marketing and sales, right? And networking is person-to-person marketing, right? If you're networking for your business, it's person-to-person marketing, right? And people get confused between marketing and sales. They think they're the same thing, and they're not. Sales is when you actually go through the process of selling your product or service. Marketing is about building your brand. It's about name recognition. It's about sharing values. It's about telling stories. It's about positioning your product, your service, and your brand in front of people who might eventually go into your sales process, right? But it's not about making sales. And networking is the same way, right? Marketing is a great way to kind of sow the seeds to grow relationships with your potential customers, right? And that's what networking is all about, right? Networking is all about developing relationships. It's all about sowing the seeds for potential business growth down the line. But it's a long game, and everybody wants like this short, quick solution. We see these like clickbaity headlines on social media posts all the time, like these two things will take you to 7 figures in 6 months, right? And it's all, pardon my language, it's all bullshit, right? It's just to get you to click. It's 100% bullshit. There are no two single things you could do that will take you to 7 figures, right? It's complete crap, but we're inundated with it all the time. And because we're so inundated with it, people buy into it. People start to believe it, right? It's if you see something enough, you start to believe it. And that's what happens. So you end up in a situation where people are looking for this quick fix. They're like, how do I, turn my life around in the next 2 months, right? Doing these 5 secret things that somebody gave me for free on the internet. And they're ultimately disappointed, but they get led down the wrong path with networking, and everything is hard sell, and, just get them into your funnel as quick as you can. And that's not a good way for long-term business growth. That'll bring you short-term gains, potentially, if you do it well. That can bring you short-term gains, but it's not a good way to build a long-lasting, sustainable, beneficial business, right? That you can feel good about when you lay your head down on the pillow at night. And that's what I want to build. So I don't do any of the gimmicky bullshit. And pardon my language for being a little salty on a Wednesday morning, but
I like it, man. We missed
call
you.
it what it is, right?
We needed that from you, man. I say sometimes I surround myself with kittens and rainbows. It's good to have the straight shooter back, the cobbler's son.
I gotta let the New York come out every once in a while.
Fair enough, man. Look, you're getting. Hey, speaking of New York, I saw Fly Ty hanging out with the mayor of New York the other day. So how'd you pull that off, my friend? And give us some tips for angling when we see a star to get ourselves a selfie with them. What do you got for us?
Hi guys. I was hanging with the mayor of New York. I didn't know. Um, well, I guess you just have to kind of just be in the right place at the right time. I guess. I was traveling back home from I guess Detroit, and it was just a run-in, and I'm pretty personable, more introverted, like to be alone and everything. But when I'm outside, I like to be as personable and as myself as possible. So when I run into somebody that I see or that I may see on the TV screen or may recognize, it's just I think for me, I don't let the what is that, the celebrity or the star or the glitz and the glam kind of get to me, because at the end of the day, they're still human. So it was cool. It was cool. It's just being in the right places, I guess, at the right time, and I guess a bunch of luck for me. That's it.
Hey man, very cool. I saw it. He shared it. He documented his life, what's going on, picture with the mayor. So, Ty, what kind of advice would you give somebody wanting to share their story? They're just starting out or they've been doing it 20 years. They want to take it to the next level. What's one thing that what's one tip of advice you would give them?
I would just say start. I started telling my story, or just sharing experiences, and doing my career in podcasting since 2017, and I started from my phone. Actually one of the phones the iPhone 7 that I use for my video, um, for video purposes, I use that. So what I would tell people, whether you're in the chat or not, is that just start. There are a lot of people who continuously sit here and say, "Oh, I'm playing catch up." No, I think you're right where you need to be. Right? If you feel like you're playing catch up, to me, I feel like you're right where you need to be. I feel the same way sometimes when I see other people in podcasting and see other people in content creation, kind of elevating, and sometimes we think like, "Oh, we're supposed to be there." Well, no, sometimes you're right where you need to be. And so whether you are um you know, my age at 28, or you're 48, 68, 78, I don't care. Start, go for it. Tap in with more resources. The older you get, the more that, you may have to just tap in to a lot more resources, and, stretch your mind in learning and everything. So I would say just start, no matter where you are in your journey, just start and figure out everything as it comes. So yeah.
Love it, Fly. Hey, why do
I,
you think, go on, Tom, why do you
I,
think so many people are afraid to start?
Well, that's kind of exactly what I was going to talk about, actually. So great minds think alike. But I don't think a lot of it, I think for a lot of people, it's not so much fear that prevents them from getting started. It's a belief that their life isn't interesting, right? They believe that their life isn't worth sharing because it isn't interesting, because it's what they're used to, right? And the thing about it is that, Dom, you talk about this all the time. We all have a story to tell, right? We all have a story to share. And the problem is that most people think that their lives are boring, right? But the truth of the matter is that their life is unique, and uniqueness makes things interesting, right? So if you've ever been in a situation where you've been telling a story and somebody has stopped you and said, "Wait, I'm sorry, what happened?" Right? Like, and I think probably most of us in this room have had that experience where you've been in the midst of telling a story about a day to somebody, and they stopped you just dead in your tracks and said, "Wait, I'm sorry, what happened? That's crazy, that's ridiculous, that's insane, that's amazing, whatever," right? If you've had that happen before, then your life is unique, your life is interesting, and your life is worth sharing, right? So don't sit in the belief, don't stop yourself from telling your story, from documenting your life, from sharing your life with other people, because you don't believe it's worth sharing, right? Accept that you are unique, and accept that you have a unique experience in the world, and that unique experience in the world is worth sharing. And other people are already interested in hearing about it. You just have to put it out in front of them. So I just wanted to say that.
Tom, did you do some work on Deadliest Catch back in the day?
I did not actually know.
Okay.
I know a whole bunch of people who've worked on that show, but
the
I
reason
never
I'm
worked on it.
asking is I'm thinking about a show in general. Here's a show out in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. Where are they at? The Pacific
The
North.
Bering Sea near the off the west coast of Alaska.
Okay, so bear with me here. So out in the middle of the ocean, with the same waves, the same darkness, the same boats, the fish, right? And you would think, well, this is not, it's a bore. But then when somebody tells their story uniquely, like now all of a sudden I've been watching, I'm watching Better Call Saul, and it takes place out in the Southwest. And this life that's going on in the Southwest is completely different than mine. And I'm fascinated by this. I started a new show called Bikes and Hikes for a regional cable company, and we go out and bike and hike on these trails in 5 states. Well, all of a sudden I'll share something that's so normal for us driving down the street, but somebody from Houston will say, I never knew this. Well, this is something so basic here, but it might be interesting to somebody else, but it's your life. And to your point, Tom, your life is very interesting. So we're going to hit a couple people here, and I'm going to delve. Michael helps people tell stories. He jumped in here for a sec. I don't know if he's got to jump off, but he's hosting a little thing soon. So Michael, if you want to give us the pitch for your little thing and help us with storytelling too, man, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dominick, Nick, and Tom. It's next Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern. 12 noon Pacific, well after this, in the Landed Big Wells room. My friend Brian and I are doing a 2-hour event, and I'm going to give you my top 10 strategies for writing a self-help or how-to book. And I used it for all 3 of my books that are all #1 books. I'm going to tell you how I did that, sitting in a coffee shop, how I planned the very beginning of it, even before I wrote a word. And then Brian's going to talk about how to market your book, even before you write it, and while you're writing it, and after you're writing it, and after it's launched, a whole fun strategy that he recommends. So if you want the link to that, just send me a direct message. It's next Wednesday on June 8th at 12 noon Pacific time. Bring pen, paper. I'm a how-to trainer. You can expect to leave with lots of really aha information about planning your book, self-help, how-to style of book. Thanks,
Michael,
Dominick, for asking
I'm
that
in,
question.
and I'm going to, if you back channel me, I'm going to share that with my authors too. I want them to attend.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I had asked you a question earlier. It cut out. I cut out. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
No, I was disconnected.
if I ping somebody more than once or 3 times, I apologize. I got fat fingers. I don't always know what I'm doing. I think then I get in my head. I'm like, did I ask this person to come up? We try to make this room a equal opportunity space where whether you're just starting out or you've been around or you have something that came up, if you want to ask a question or share a tip, we'd love to have you. But Michael, the question we started this room talking about networking today because a lot of people were at PodFest, and I was wondering, in your success, was networking something you dealt with, or were you like, man, that's not for me?
Hated it. Well, first I'm going to tell you, old school, we used to network at Chamber of Commerce meetings, at Rotary meetings, or you'd go to a guest speaker and they would network before and after. I'm always the most awkward person in the room. Really, I can speak in front of 4,000 people, but put me in a room where I have to network. So I learned real early that wasn't my style, but I found my style as I start participating at trade shows like at health expos and positive living expos. And my strategy was always to have an exhibit and to do a talk and wait for it. I don't have to network. They all come to me. So now everybody that comes to my exhibit is pre-qualified, and I don't have to talk to people awkwardly about whether they're interested, because in the chamber days, I was weird. I was very weird to them. And so instead of going through a whole crowd of, with all due respect, old men in a networking meeting, and thinking, this guy's weird. This young guy's weird. That's what they would call me. So then I go to a trade show and everybody in the lineup is weird like me, or they're matching me. So find a strategy. You don't have to network every style and everywhere. Find your strategy and make sure that's the best job you can do in that strategy. And that was my strategy. And then I would get invited to go to more trade shows, and that's how that starts. You start one, get the ball rolling, and then that energy collects itself. And before you know it, you could be the trade show guy or gal. Thanks, Dominic. That was my networking tools. And it's okay to say that you don't like to network and that it's uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, if that's what you feel, then that's true. So just find a way to match your style. Thank you.
How many in this room, if you would give a clap, have ever felt weird networking? I can think of times where I went in the bathroom and splashed water on my face. I'm like, God, and here I was in sales 15 years, and still I'd be somewhere in New York City, and I'd go in the bathroom. I remember this. I went in the bathroom. I'm like, I just got to do it, and I'm in there like splashing water on my face, giving myself this pep talk. Tom, one time I was at a Halloween party, and I ran home. This is as an adult. I climbed a fence in a backyard and ran home. I was just my networking game was off that day.
At a business Halloween party.
No, it was just it was a basic Halloween party, but there was all kinds of business owners and things like that. It just with a different group of people. I wasn't feeling the vibe. I climbed a fence in the backyard and
Oh
got the heck
man,
out of there. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Apparently, I'm an outlier because I've never had. I've had like networking functions that I've gone to that have been like, better than others or easier to talk to people at than others, but I've never. I'm one of those. I'm one of those weird people that like I've never been nervous to get up in front of people and talk, and I know that is a massive fear for tons of people, and I've never felt that. I don't know why. Like I don't know why that like skipped me, but I don't get worried or nervous really. Like the only time I get nervous, I get probably more nervous when I go into a situation where like I know there's a sale on the line, like, and there's a potential that I could close business on that call with somebody, then especially when it's like a bit of a long shot to close business with them because it's a bigger company or it's a new client or whatever, that makes me nervous. Like I get nervous then. But I don't get nervous like getting up in front of a crowd of people. Like that doesn't make me nervous. I don't get nervous networking, just chatting with people, getting to know each other. Like that doesn't make me nervous. But I get nervous when it comes to the sales side. I don't know why.
Go on, George. Do you want to add something there?
Yeah, actually, I'm
Mic's on, but no words are coming out, George.
He's
over
got.
at.
Oh, yeah. I think your phone was ringing there, George. We lost you for a second.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm about to run into the office, but I wanted to make sure I got this in because in mid-May, I took part in Fan Expo, and that is like that's Wizard World, but they rebranded. And because of my experience as a podcaster, I was asked to moderate different things, and I was actually like asked to moderate a whole lot of different sketch duels with different comic artists, and even moderate the panel about remembering Neil Adams, and a lot of different things like that. So because of that experience, that led me to that. But what I did was I made a point to network, to reach out to each person that I was going to be on that panel with, on those respective panels with, beforehand. I introduced myself. I kind of let them know what I was planning on doing with this, and then I asked them the big question: do you mind if I record it? And I wound up bringing in over 2 months worth of material because everyone was fine with me recording it. So you never know where like when these amazing nuggets just happen to happen to pop up. So, when you go to, places like this, these kinds of conventions, make sure that you have a portable setup, because you never know what's gonna wind up resulting from it.
Thank you, George. Dr. Tachi, you were clapping and I wanted to hit you on this. So what's your thoughts?
I'm clapping 10 times over for the portable setup. You should, whatever you do, whether it's video, whether it's audio, you should always have, if you have a studio component, you should have a component that works well out in the field, because sometimes some of the best content comes on the fly or out in the field. One thing that I always do is I always carry a uh, some type of either selfie stick or stabilizer that is expandable, that will like fit in my purse. I've got an LED light that is really small, and of course I've always got my phone and a small mini shotgun microphone, so that if I'm out and I happen to be able to record something, I'm already set. So 100% to portable equipment.
Dr. Tachi, how many years have you been in the entertainment, storytelling, video industry?
Wow. For real, since I was 4, but like all my life. But in terms of actually doing the live streaming thing and taking it seriously, I would say since about 2011.
Okay. I ask you that because here, like when we talk about this room, that somebody just starting or somebody that's been doing it since 2011 and maybe before, if she adds the time from when she was 4 to 11 years ago. But think about that input and the value of the tip Dr. Tachi just said. Like we use, when I go out and film professionally, we use the selfie sticks. Never once did I think about putting it in my car. Never once did I think about putting the light in my bag to just carry around. So I feel like I've missed the boat and had this epiphany here. Tom, what do you think?
Well, I was just going to say, I've actually gotten in the habit since I started doing my Ironman training vlog. I've started taking a GoPro with me everywhere. So I have the GoPro. I don't actually have it with me. I'll grab it in a little bit so I can show it on the live stream. But I have a GoPro, and I think I showed it a couple of weeks ago, actually, on the live stream the day that you weren't here, Dom. But I had this GoPro with a little mini shotgun mic that I take with me pretty much everywhere because I do a daily vlog now for my training, and I think I'm going to continue that after I finish training for the Ironman and branch it out into other things. But also I'm starting it's like just having that around has spawned the idea for another project. So now I'm gathering content to create another project out of it. And if I have this GoPro with a little mic on it, then that means that I can do that wherever I go. So like I'm starting to take it to networking events. I'm starting to take it out to meetings with me. Like when I leave my house, like it goes in the bag and I just take it with me. And it's super easy to do. The one thing I want to say to everybody is whenever you do this, if you put together a little travel kit like Dr. Tachi was talking about and like George was talking about, which I think is a great idea, make sure, I think, first of all, you should be recording video, right? Even if you only end up using the audio as part of your podcast or something like that, record the video anyway, because then you can use the video to promote your podcast on other social media, right? On other visual mediums. So record video regardless, but make sure, spend a couple of bucks and get a microphone. Get a shotgun microphone that fits on your phone. If you're going to use your phone, if you're going to use a GoPro, get one for a GoPro. Get a shotgun microphone. Audio quality really, really matters. And it is the most often overlooked component of creating content and gathering content, especially when you're doing it sort of on the fly, on the move, like we're talking about. People forget about audio, and here they are with their cell phone interviewing somebody from 15 feet away, and you can't hear them. And guess what people do when they come across a video like that? They click away. right? They move on. If they can't hear you, it doesn't even matter what it looks like. It could be the most amazing shoot ever. If the sound sucks and you can't understand what people are saying, no one's going to watch it. So just make sure that you spend a couple of bucks and get a microphone. It'll be the best 20, 30 bucks you ever spend.
Brilliant, Tom. Loving the tips. Love it. You guys are awesome. Every Wednesday, we talk Clubhouse, podcasting, publishing, and social media. My friend Michael Lozier suggested we start a club so you can check out the club, follow the club. It'll get you extra pings and that kind of stuff. We don't violate with the pings, and you'll see me and Tom aren't trying to hard close or I should, Tom, get me something to sell so I can start hard closing. No, none of that goes on here. If you let go on, what
For
do you
just
got?
2 easy payments of $19.99.
Yeah, you are now in the club. You get in for free, and then we charge you 2 easy payments. Whatever. Okay, let's meet our friend Elizabeth. I miss you. She's been flying again. She's traveling again. She's kayaking. The thing we were talking earlier about start today, and she is one that did it. Just decided to tell her story, share it, start. So Elizabeth, what's going on, my friend?
Hi, Dominick. I really haven't been here for a very long time. I've been busy, yes, and I was traveling. I was invited to go. I was given an award by the European Police Association for my 17 years of service as an interpreter and an administrator, and I was invited to Crete, and I had a wonderful time. And I did a podcast episode about it. My podcast is called Most Memorable Journeys, and I started it because I was a tour guide when I was young. And after 11 years of tour guiding, I ended up on the beautiful island of Cyprus in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's where I am now. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here. And then I thought I wanted to talk about traveling. I want to tell my story. As I said, I also worked as a conference interpreter for 17 years. I speak 6 languages. And so I decided to start this podcast, and I just uploaded episode 66, and I'm having a wonderful time. And yeah, that's really all I have to. All my news. As I said, I've been busy. My kids live in Switzerland. I'm originally from Switzerland, but everybody was home for the Greek Easter, and that's a lot of work, lots of visitors, full house all the time, lots of food. People here like to eat a lot, so there always has to be events. And yeah, I'm recovering from all this, and I'm done speaking.
Elizabeth, what came first? Was it the book or the podcast?
Well, I have a book. You've read my book, The Soul Kid. That was before the podcast. I wrote, funny enough, when I was saying that I was traveling with the police for 17 years, I spent so much time on planes and in airport lounges and in airports, and I actually wrote my book while I was traveling.
It is a convenient way, especially now with dictation and things like that. Why I wanted to ask you that question was when you were about to share story, here you are, and now you're about to put this story out into the world. And now you've done it multiple times with each time you publish on your podcast or something like that. How did you get over the fear? Or was it just like, this is going to be so awesome that people are going to love it? Or were you like, maybe I won't tell anybody about this and I'll see what happens? How'd you get over that fear of doing it for the first time?
Well, it's a very long story, that, because I didn't talk about my story for a long time. I'm not sure if I ever even told that story in this room. My mother gave birth to me when she was 16, and there was no space in her life for me, so she wanted to give me up for adoption. And I grew up with my grandparents. My grandfather took me home, and I was bullied at school for that. I didn't have any parents, and I lived in a very small village in Switzerland, very Catholic, very judgmental. So I was. All I did in my young years, I was working when I started working when I was 13. All I did was planning my escape. So and also my mother never acknowledged me all her life, and I was actually protecting her. I never talked about this because she always introduced me as her sister. But she died 7 years ago, and that's when I started telling my story, because I think it's very important to tell your story and tell people. I came from very, very difficult beginnings, very poor. We never had any money. I wanted to study and I couldn't because there wasn't any money for that. And I think it's important to tell people, if I can do it, you can do it too. And there is this saying about your story could be somebody else's survival guide. And I think it's important to tell our stories. And there will always be somebody who judges us, but there will be lots and lots of people who will appreciate us, and there will be lots of people who will actually come and ask, how did you do that? And I think that's another thing that we often forget. People love to help. When you see somebody do something great, go and ask them, how do you do it? How did you do it? Or like you asking in here now, because people love to tell their story. And I think it's important that we do.
You are doing a fantastic job at it. Tom was saying everybody has a story. We're a believer in that. It's so clear. You get into the depth of Elizabeth's story there, and there's so much there, right? And I know you're only scratching the surface, but it really, a lot of people can identify with your words. So thank you. We started this conversation today, Tom, talking about Podfest and networking. So we better hit producer Jimmy. I heard she got nominated Queen of the Ball at Podfest, and they anointed her most likely to pod. So
I want to hear about this.
Producer Jimmy, tell us, we were talking about the networking and how so many people came out of Podfest with these tips and things like that. So how was your experience? Go on.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely awesome. And it's funny, I did not walk away with the crown. I was not formally anointed. However, the day before we get there, Glenn, many of you know Brenda Geek, who's a good friend of mine from Horse Radio Network. I've brought him into Clubhouse a few times to hang out with me here. And the night before Podfest, we got a call asking us to step in as MCs because the person who was scheduled to MC unfortunately caught COVID and couldn't make it. So I already knew that I was doing a bunch of panels and presentations and all these other things. And then I get there and I'm also MCing. But it was awesome. It was such a wild ride, such a good time. My son got to join me for the first time ever at Podfest. He's heard about it for years, and he got to actually go with me this time, which was fantastic. And my brother joined in with us as well. And what was really special about that is, from my brother's perspective, I was able to see it kind of with fresh eyes again, of what it's like to go in there for the first time as a podcaster, because my brother now hosts a show. It's been a year exactly now. And he walked away with so much information, so many great connections, new guests to have on the show, also clients. He's also a lawyer, so also new clients and all that kind of stuff. And he also walked away with the sense of cooperation, collaboration that we really cultivated at Podfest. That was fantastic. But then to also
Stop. What was that word, Tom? That's a word you should put up on the cooperation, collaboration. Please explain this high-tech stuff. Easy, producer Jimmy. Easy. Come on.
Yes, we were walking out the first night. My son and I are walking him to the shuttles to get to the big after party. And he says, "This is incredible. I've been to conferences and usually it's so competitive and da da da, but here everyone's helping each other out. What is this?" He's like, "Is that just podcasters?" I said, "To a certain extent, yes, but really it's Podfest." But what was awesome I have to share, you are going to super appreciate this, especially Dom. So my son being able to go there for the first time, he's had his difficulties these last couple of years, as any kid, dealing with the pandemic, virtual school, all of that. But then on top of that, he's had the added layer of just a really awful relationship with his dad that's really taken a toll on his self-confidence. And I walked in there with a kid who was afraid to use the escalator. And I walked out after 3 days at Podfest with a kid who was loving the escalator, but also stood up, went to the microphone in front of 600 people and gave a speech about what he was grateful for at 10 years old. And interviewed the founder of Wisdom for 23 minutes, all on his own chutzpah and balls. I was so impressed with him. So it was a fantastic conference.
That's awesome. That's incredible. What do you think? I'm curious, Jemmy, what would you credit with? Like, what did you see? What was happening when that sort of turn happened, when that transformation happened for your son, where he he was suddenly able to, do all those things, interview people, get up on stage and talk in front of a group of people, stuff like that. What would you credit? Where did you see that sort of like that transformation happen?
That's a fantastic question. I think it was the interactions with the people. Firstly, so Owl, I'm getting a red bar. Are you guys able to hear me?
I still got you.
Am I still coming in clear?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So the Owl app is created by my friend Jason. And so Jason had a booth there and gave Jordan a little job. And his job was to take the blow up Owl. So he was running around doing that. But then I think it was just the positivity. And then I think another thing that happened that was really, really cool, I think the moment that it really took off for him, he took a chance. He saw these two ladies dressed in like cat costumes, really, really looking super adorable, clearly co-hosts of something. And he saw them and he instantly wanted to talk to them and see if they would collaborate with him on doing something, right? So he goes up to them. I didn't even know what was happening. He figured, let me take a chance. I've had great interactions so far. And he walks up to them and starts to talk to them about his stop motion animation and their show. And by the end of it, he had a meeting set up with them to collaborate on an intro and outro for their show. And I think their kindness and leaning into him, I think made the difference. So you asked me, it wasn't a singular moment. I think it was the people surrounding him and pouring into him with as much love as I've been experiencing over these last 5-6 years going to Podfest.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's amazing the sort of power of positive influence and what it can do to transform people. Right. That idea of community support and lifting each other up to enable each other to do things that probably would have been unthinkable or unimaginable even a short period before. I'm sure you didn't go to Podfest expecting that to happen. So that's amazing. I'm so glad that you guys had such a positive experience, and especially your son was able to come away from that event with such a positive experience. It sounds like a great time. I gotta maybe try to get there next year. Maybe I'll revive my podcast and then
You should.
I'll resuscitate it and then maybe try to get to Podfest next year.
But Tom, if you're networking and things like that, like think of all the great talents and stuff there and all the relationships to be made and interesting things, even if you weren't a podcaster. But I wanted to just double back on the positivity from producer Jimmy. Love it. That's my space. I try to live in that world. Imagine the moment when somebody believes in you, whoever that person is. And what if you could give that gift to somebody else? That I believe in you. You have what it takes. Some people have never got that in their life from anybody. Imagine living in a place where you've never received those words. Well, I think you can do it. I believe in you. And all of a sudden, like that switch with producer Jimmy's son, where Not only can you do it, you're in the same ball game. Or like Fly Ty said earlier, he just goes out and does it. He doesn't think that this is the mayor of New York or this famous person that. He's just going out and doing his thing. He is him. He is the star. So my friend Charlie has Star the dog. That's what I tell my friend Charlie, he's the star. Well, his dog went viral and opened his world up and let him exposed him to a whole new world. I really believe that he's the star. So, hey, I had a call with Prof T the other day. She jumped in here. Then we're gonna have Prof T, then Nima Tima, then our friend William. So Prof T, she was inspiring me. Looked like she got a new picture here. I don't know what's going on. Nice, lovely new picture. Love new pictures. Fly Tie had a new picture too. Prof T, what do you got for us? What's your thoughts on the networking, inspiration, belief? We got a lot of subjects rolling here, Tom.
Hey, everybody. Hi. This is Teresa Agustinelli, otherwise known as Prof T from Philly. Yeah, loving the topic. So I'll just speak to networking. Networking was my bread and butter. And then when COVID hit, everything just, went kaplooey and everything was virtual. And I had to pivot and learn that. I don't really, I'm not a fan of sitting in front of a computer. Doing networking, things like that. But I learned to roll with the punches. But here's what I would say about networking. Way back when I started my private practice as a psychologist, I had to start doing some of those things. So, like Michael, I joined the Rotary and the Lions Club and the Chamber of Commerce in Philadelphia and Jersey, and was going to all these networking events and would just choke. I was really bad at it. Didn't like crowds. Wasn't really good at networking. Probably had something to do with being bullied. During high school, I was the one sitting at the lunch table by myself. It's a long story. Maybe that's why I'm a therapist and a life coach. But with that said, I learned how to network well because, I invested in myself. I invested in my education. I invested in coaches and counselors and mentors and advisors. And so it became my bread and butter. And it still is today, now that we're going back. There is a method to networking, and I've learned how to network well because your network is equal to your net worth. So with that said, yeah, I do have a book coming out, Dominick, still waiting. Good gracious. It is a long process. But I am doing podcasts, people inviting me on podcasts, people inviting me to share on their Clubhouse stages my story of trauma and drama and overcoming to live a life of victory and success. So with that said, I don't want to hog up your mic. Just wanted to say hello. Always enjoy coming here. This is Teresa Agustinelli, Prof T from Philly. Back to you, Dominick. Thank you.
Prof T, thank you. Thanks for the wisdom, and stay the course with that book you're on. It's a labor of love. So this is my tip for the day with books, Tom. The biggest threat to a successful book is an artificial release date. So biggest threat to a successful book is an artificial release date. So many people I need to have it out by this day. Why? I need to have it out by this. I need to have it out because it's my birthday. I need to have it out because I told Tom I was going to have it out by this day. What's the real reason? So if you're not pushing that artificial release date, and I'm not saying she is or isn't, but if you can hold true to that, I'm just going to get out the best possible book and then set things up at that time and roll it out. You'll knock off all those things. And then you're on mission sharing your story. Go on, Charlie. What do you got?
Dominick, that is the story of my book. I had all superficial release dates of all these dates that are of importance. I go out to Florida. I'm getting ready to go on a podcast. I mean, I've talked about everything under the sun. So the host had me back. He says, "Hey, Charlie, what are we going to talk about?" "I'm going to release my book today." I called Jen up. I said, "Release it." It was ready to go. It's been ready for 4 years. We get on. We talk about the book. I mean, I'm a garbage man by trade. I mean, I'm nearing 500,000 views and wonderful comments, and YouTube could be real critical of people. I got to tell you something. It's incredible when you talk about the real stuff in this life and you deflate the ego, the toxic masculinity, and you get in there and say, look, this is my life. This is my book. If you had financial drama, if you've had addiction from food, drugs, alcohol, gambling, and if you sat by yourself at the lunch table, like Prop T talked about, open this book up and go on a journey. And you know what, Dominic, you know the story. I just released it, and I am taken back by how it's being received. Thank you.
Really well done, man. Just another example. Share that story. Okay, let's see here. Well, hold on. I'm just got to scramble. You know, I like this, Tom. Fly Tie's got a new picture here. He's got some cool. I'm liking the dreads, looking good. Sunglasses, okay. I'm stepping up my game. Before this is over today. I'm changing my picture. I'm gonna find one. Okay, Tom. It's time for Nima Tima. What's going on? How are you today? What is new?
Hey, thanks for having me. And it's Nia Tima. It's okay. I've pronounced it 700 billion times in my lifetime.
I was so close. Where did the M come from? Why? Why an M? God.
No,
Yeah.
there's another woman on Clubhouse that thinks my name is not long enough and likes to put an additional syllable in it. So I'm the creator and host of a YouTube channel, not a podcast. We're not dead yet. Women rocking their next chapter, and I am a story. I tell other women's stories who are rocking their next chapter in midlife. But I have my best networking story to share, which for anybody who is, doesn't like networking, it's a reason to do it anyway. For a bit, like 12 years ago, I volunteered at my kids' school to create a musical theater program. Now, I don't have a teaching degree. I've never been a teacher. I danced and sang, my whole life or growing up, but I wasn't a professional actress. But I said, all right, I'm going to do this. Well, found out that in my town, Atlanta, the National Junior Theater Festival happens every year. So I say, you guys, let's go. I didn't know what I was doing at all. We show up and I am the kid. I am like Prof T. I was the little girl on the front porch who watched the kids playing across the street and was terrified to go say, hi, I want to play too. And that little girl still lives inside me today, even though I've had all kinds of incredible professional experiences and I've learned to suppress her and overcome her. So we go to this junior theater festival of like 5,000 people, and there's a cocktail party for the directors. I know no one. I am a fraud, right? I'm not a teacher. I'm not really a director. And so I say, okay, I have to make myself go to this. I'm going to go. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to get a glass of wine. I'm going to talk to 3 people and then I'm out of there. So I'm psyching myself up. So I go in, I order my glass of wine. I'm looking around in a panic. Who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to talk to? I see this little cluster of 3 young people, much younger than me. I'm like, okay, here goes. I walk up. These are people from all over the country. These 3 people, not only do they happen to be from my area, but the one young woman grew up across the street from the school that I'm currently, quote, teaching at. She's a choreographer. She wants to collaborate. She offers to choreograph my next show. The 3 of us become best friends. I'm invited to one of their weddings. And it, just but for sucking it up and psyching myself out and saying, I'm going to go talk to 3 people, that wouldn't have happened. And just during the course of the event, even though I felt like a fraud, all of a sudden the heads of the festival started hearing my story about how I had volunteered and didn't know what I was doing, but was doing it anyway. And our little group became kind of a celebrity little group for what we were doing to spread musical theater to kids no matter what. And the next year we came back, we won a major award, and I won a national award for directing. So, but for sticking my neck out and telling that little girl to shut up, I wouldn't have had all those experiences. So there's something to be said for making yourself do stuff you're uncomfortable with. I'm Niatima, and I am complete.
Niatima, thank you for sharing that story. That was a great story. I think what I really got out of that story is that everything is possible if you just take it one step at a time, right? It's about breaking things into manageable chunks. It's easy to get overwhelmed if you walk into a room of 100 people and look around and go, oh my God, there's 100 people in here. But if you walk into that same room of 100 people and with a goal of speaking to 3 individuals, well, that's easy, right? Like that's manageable, right? So all you're doing is goal setting using manageable chunks, right? You're breaking it down into steps. So the first thing is you walk into that room, you don't really want to be there, and you just make a deal with yourself and you say, I'm going to talk to 3 folks.
The first thing
Oh, I
you do is get a glass of wine.
yeah, I would have checked to see if they had whiskey at the bar. That would have been my go-to. But yeah, exactly, right. But yeah, just breaking it down into those manageable chunks, right? I mean, it's easy to get overwhelmed if you walk into a room of 100 people and you're looking around going, well, there's no way I can talk to everybody, so I'm going to talk to nobody. And really, what you should look around and say, there's no way I can talk to everybody, but I could talk to 3 people, or I could talk to 5 people, right? Or I can find a group of people and become part of their conversation. So I think it's just about breaking it into manageable chunks and just one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, just ever moving forward, right? Just don't let that momentum stop. Keep it moving and keep taking steps, and you'll eventually get where you're headed. But yeah, thanks for sharing that story, Niatima. That was a good one. I appreciated it. Who we got, Dom? Who we got up next on your list? Because I know ours are
Okay, well, first,
sometimes
Tom,
different.
I see. First, I want to say that I am taking my reverse out of my car because I refuse to go backwards. So that's our positive spin on that. So I think I think it is William, then Sean, then Julie. So that's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? Is that good?
Hey, that works for me, man. Whatever you got on your on, because I'm using Club Deck, you use Clubhouse on your phone. Our feeds are different. Mine are like a vertical feed, as you can see in the live stream. Yours are the standard grid on Clubhouse.
Interesting. We learned something new. I
So
did not know that. So let's go. First, we're going to cover some orders of business. We do this room every Wednesday. We talk about all things publishing, podcasting, social media, branding, sharing your story. We get experts from all over the world come in and give tips, and people from all over the world that are beginners come in and ask questions too, or people that have been around 20 years that have a question on, well, why is Tom using video, or how did Charlie do this, or how's Teresa doing that? So all these questions. There's a chat. Get in the back channel. I stole this off producer Jimmy. Producer Jimmy, I stole this off of you. You've never been in the room when I used it, so I will do it in your honor today. I was in one of her rooms, and she said, when you're in one of these rooms, look left, look right, Brady Bunch style. There's interesting people above you, beside you, below you. Connect with them, reach out in the DMs, follow them. I do have this belief that we were all meant to be in this room, in this space, at whatever time it is in your time zone right now. We were all meant to be here at this moment for a reason. So do a little extra legwork and figure out what that reason was. You can share the room. I love people clipping themselves. If you haven't used clips, the little scissors down on the bottom of the screen, if you're listening on LinkedIn or through the live stream or something like that, there is the ability on Clubhouse to clip 30 seconds of content. So if you're in a room and the room has the scissors, if you get up and you nail it like Prof T and Jess and Elizabeth and Charlie all did, and Dr. Tachi, if you know it and you want to share that content, again, snip, 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 the content does not have to be single use. Early on, with Clubhouse, with social audio, some people would be like, well, that's single use content. I'm not going to spend my time there. And so it is content that you're able to use again, and you can use it on other platforms. So somebody we are meant to meet right now, we are going to meet. What do you got, Tom?
I just wanted to add in on that, Dom, too, that, this doesn't have to be single use content, and that's not what it is. It's one of the reasons why we started live streaming it, right? Because Clubhouse doesn't have to only live on Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse can be part of a broader conversation. And so I just wanted to throw out just a quick ask to everybody here today. If you enjoy this room, if you enjoy this space, we'd love to keep bringing more people into it, keep meeting new people each week, keep bringing this sort of level of inclusivity and information sharing and positive motivation to more folks. So please share the live streams. They're on, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. If you search either Dominick or myself, you'll be able to find the live streams on a bunch of different channels. And please share them with your network so we can continue to bring more people into this room. I 100% believe that the positivity and the benefit that we create in this space will only get better as we bring more people into it. So please share and share alike. We appreciate all you guys being here, and we hope to bring more folks in.
Hey, thank you, Tom. Well said. We must meet. William, ask a question, drop a tip. You hear the subjects. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. William Jackson. I am here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm really enjoying the conversation and learning quite a bit that I can apply to what I and my wife do. We are STEAM educators. If you're not sure what STEAM is, it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics here in Jacksonville. And I am a middle school STEAM teacher. My wife and I, we provide free STEAM education for youth, teens, and young adults here in the community. And we also started a podcasting club and newspaper club along with another teacher at the middle school that I teach at. And we call it Twin Lakes Academy Middle School Podcasting and Newspaper Club, and just teaching the students and allowing them to have ownership of the newspaper and podcasting club. And it's just been an amazing experience this school year, watching them grow, watching their self-confidence build up, and learning about podcasting and content creation and development and graphic design and a lot of things that, we learn from rooms like this. And I'm glad I found your room because I'm sitting here in my classroom. This is actually our last day of post planning, taking notes and writing stuff down for the next school year to share with the students as our podcast grows and as our newspaper grow as well. And I just want to encourage everybody that's listening to, use your skills, talents, and abilities and your experience that you have. And please share it with some schools in your area, particularly middle schools and high schools, because these are the skills our students need to have. They need to understand the value of their brand. They need to understand the marketability of their talents and skills, and they need to understand the value of podcasting and content development and digital newspapers or digital magazines, because the way our society is moving into the metaverse and Web 3.0 and so forth and so on. Unfortunately, it takes 2 to 3 years for schools to catch up. And we all know by that time, things will drastically change. And we are just so inundated with red tape and curriculum and all this stuff, which in most cases is needed. But, technology is not going to wait for education to catch up. And our students are going to be further and further behind. So if you have a school in your local area, please reach out to them and volunteer and share your knowledge, because it is transformative, the things that are changing so rapidly. And I commend the moderators for this room, because y'all are dropping some gems and some very good information that my wife and I, we definitely going to share, as we continue to do stuff more and more, working summer camps and other things that we love to do during the summer. So this is William, and I'll hand the mic back. And if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thanks, William, for sharing that. I got to tell you, I want to, as soon as we finish this room today, I want to start reaching out to the school districts around me and offering to come in and talk to the students about content creation, about video, about telling stories, about how to kind of navigate and use their platforms, because we all have a platform, right? How to use their platforms to do some good in the world and to sow seeds, positive seeds for meaningful, long lasting relationships using their content, right? So like I'm inspired. I'm inspired, William. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, now it's on my list. Like I'm going to start reaching out to school districts and seeing if I can come in and talk to the kids and maybe give them some positive, actionable tips for how they can use their platforms to do some good in the world. So thank you, William. Thank you for the work that you and your wife do, teaching STEAM and helping out your community. Really appreciate it and appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot, man. I don't know.
If I
What do
could
you,
just jump in,
Jemmy?
Tom, and
Go
say,
for it.
yeah, I just wanted to share with you really quick that I think it's a fantastic idea. I really want to encourage you to do that. Thank you, William, for sharing, because I had the great pleasure, I think two times in a row, with different school systems, going in and speaking to the students towards the end of the year, of the school year. And it was a great experience, and you really do affect change, and those little minds are going to remember you. And so I just want to encourage you. Thank you, Tom, for actually bringing it up, that's not something that just William and his wife can do. It's something that's an opportunity for all, and I want to encourage you to do it because it really is phenomenal. It really pulls at the heartstrings. That's all.
Think about making that impact early. Like you could get to those young minds. William, I actually got chills hearing William talk when you put it the practical application of what we're all doing here. You know, the sharing of the story, and then William taking it to the youth and getting them started early. I have a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, and my wife is a analyst and has her master's, and I went to Pitt, have my bachelor's, and I am completely understanding that my children are more likely to live in a world where they make their living from video content and sharing their stories and social audios and medias and things like that. So love the work you're doing. And William, if you haven't connected with producer Jimmy, you need to. Go on, Tom. What do you want to add?
Well, and I was just going to say, even if they don't make their living from it, Dom, I think if nothing else, we've for sure learned over the last few years that video and social audio and creating content and sharing it with directly with other people, with individuals. I know a bunch of people in marketing that are now using direct one-to-one video messaging to help market their businesses. They're using audio messaging to help market their businesses, all kinds of things. So like, whether it's how you earn your living, it's for sure going to be a part of daily life going forward. And it is for us already. And it absolutely is going to be for kids growing up now, that video and virtual communication, like we're doing right now, sort of in these spaces, is going to continue to be part of everyday life. And so it's important that people learn how to use it, and they learn how to use it to do good, right? Rather than kind of falling down that easy, slippery slope of amplifying the bad, right? Which we could get into the whole psychology of it and the negativity bias and why we're predisposed to and to focus on negative things. But that's what it is. That's why it's so easy for negativity to spread. So you really have to intentionally and willfully push back against that with positivity and with uplifting messaging. And so I think, yeah, I'm definitely inspired by what William shared to try to reach out in my local area and try to get, start reaching out to STEAM teachers and folks in those programs at the local high schools and see if I can come in and talk to the kids and start maybe creating a little bit of a movement and getting them to, use these tools that we have at our disposal for positivity.
And I just want to add one more thing to that. I appreciate, all the wonderful and kind words too. And as business owners, we have to remember too that the young people that are coming up today, they potentially would be your future employees. So the sooner you can make connections and possibly offer internships or even allow the kids to come in and watch and learn from what you're doing, helps them establish a framework in mind that, oh, I want to go work for this business, or I'm going to connect and network with this business owner, or if they have a question or concern or want to just volunteer some time, you're going to come in their mind first. And the skills that you teach them, they potentially will carry back with them if they are your future employees and or customers. So it goes full circle when you're involved in the school system, even if it's volunteering or you're going in and talking, because those young people, as someone, I think the young lady said, they know who you are, they're going to make a connection with you, and then when they're ready to work, they'll already have some idea of what your expectations are for them to be future employees and workers where you are, but then also have that knowledge of being responsible digitally and having those skills and be able to want to learn more and apply it in a correct way. So I hand the mic back. Thank you.
Loving this conversation. Thank you. Thank you, William. Thank you, everybody, for being here today and being so genuine. Like, it's really nice to have this conversation. Dr. Tachi, I saw you flashing. Did you want to add something?
I'm just co-signing on all of that. And hey, William, I think it is critically important for us to that are in these spaces, whether it's podcasting, whether it's video, any type of particularly media, that we reach back and become a pipeline for young people. Because if we don't, this is where it ends, and this is where it stops, and that's a scary prospect. Also, William didn't tell you that he's really into Web3. And I think that the next generation of media needs to include Web3 or the metaverse in all of our conversations, particularly when we're talking about young students and where they're going to be and where the industries are going. So I release the mic.
Loving it. Thank you, Dr. Tachi. Thank you, William. Okay, we got to meet. Look at this bio already. We are going to meet Sean, actor, singer, author. I got to keep going here. Actors study music theory, learning piano. I'm learning piano too. I got a goal to play Amazing Grace before I'm 60, so I got some time. Has written songs. I'm trying, man, inch by inch, like Tom was saying. Sean, what's going on, my friend? Ask a question, share a tip. Glad you're here, my friend.
It's just great to be here. Thank you, Julie, for inviting me up. Um, to William, I'm also a substitute teacher, so I know what it's like to deal with those little kids. uh, they they will try a substitutes, but I have to put them in place. Whap with the whip. I tell my students all the time, look, my crazy is better than yours, so don't mess with me. And so I always try comedy with my approach to when I'm at work in the school system, and and they usually ask me, could I be their real teacher? Um, I think with podcasting, it's very important that you have a strong team of people around you because you can't you cannot do this alone. I'm a co-moderator here on Clubhouse in a room called the Kingdom Entertainment Biz, and and there are three other co-moderators, and we try our best to work as a team unit. So it's really, even though there's one person behind the mic, really there's a group of us, and the podcast consists of more than one individual. So I release my mic, and it's great to be here.
Sean, man, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Stop by anytime. You are welcome. So look at this. We're going to cruise on. We got to meet Tim. I like this headset he's got on here. If I had a cool headset, this is the headset I would wear. It just looks good. It just looks good. You can see, if anybody's not on Clubhouse or streaming, you can see people's profile thumbnail pics. And Tim's got this nice white headset on. So, Tim, what's going on? Ask a question, share a tip.
Yeah, I'm going to give a couple of tips. I'm a digital marketer in the Dallas area. Just recently finished doing a couple of big presentations out here, and somebody had asked me about podcasting in my Q&A about two things: one, how to get a sponsorship, and also what if a guest fails on you? What if he deep dives you and doesn't make it? So my first suggestion to this individual was about the person that bails on your podcast, and it's like short time before it happens. Is go to Pinterest and go to Pinterest in that subject field that you were going to talk about, and find some real interesting posts on Pinterest. It's very unconventional, by the way, but go to Pinterest, find some threads that you like, and use those as part of the subject matter, like the top 10 hints about XYZ, top 7 tips about XYZ. Things that you wouldn't normally talk about or even think about, you can find on Pinterest to use as your subject matter in case a guest fails on you. And second one was about finding sponsorships or finding somebody that will be a sponsor on your podcast. And you may not be able to get one. What I do is, and again, as a digital marketer, this is how I make my living, is find affiliate sites. So let's say that you do a travel show about podcasting. Go to Hilton or any other major hotel chain. Look at the bottom of the page, and this holds for everybody. Go to the bottom of a page, and you'll find something that's called affiliates. So when you click on affiliates, you basically become a brand ambassador for that affiliate for that particular site, and you'll make money on them. You become a salesperson of sorts. So you'll at the end of your broadcast, or during your broadcast, this podcast is sponsored by Hilton Hotels, and if you need more information about it, just click on the link below at the end of the podcast or click on the link at the end of the podcast. It'll redirect them to the Hilton site or wherever it might be that you're looking for. And they click on that and you make money, and that it's super easy. And by saying something that's being sponsored, your podcast being sponsored by, let's say, a Hilton, that gives you a certain gravitas. But it really doesn't matter if it's. I'm just talking travel, but most any industry, when you go to their websites and you look at the bottom of the page, you see something that says affiliate. That will give you a sponsorship of sorts. So anyway, just a couple of quick notes, to cover your base in case somebody bails on you, and also to get sponsorships for your podcast.
Tim, I'm in. Hold on. I'm interested. See, I happen to put up my bikes and hikes show that we do. So let's say, how does that work? You see, this is after we air it on, it airs on the cable company, then we share it on YouTube. So
Mhm.
how do we? So you're saying, and it's travel. So how am I going to rudimentary? Step one? How am I going to go and ask somebody or become an affiliate to
Yeah. So
Hilton?
let's say it's a sporting site. So like Dick's Sporting Goods. Again, go to their web. This is for everybody now. So go to their website. Look at the very bottom of the page, and you'll see a lot of footnotes at the bottom of the page. What I call footnotes, but you'll see something that says affiliate on there. When you click onto affiliate, they're saying like, hey, what would you mind selling for us? You become a brand ambassador for Dick's Sporting Good or Hilton or whoever it might be, like FTD Florist, even whoever it might be that would fit your particular podcast genre. And then when you click onto that, they'll just ask you a few questions, and they'll give you banner ads. They'll give you copy that you can say, but they'll give you a link. So the link, once you click on that link and you sign up for the affiliate program, you get a 60-day cookie. So if anybody's listening to your podcast that is interested in like, oh my gosh, Hilton's sponsoring this. This is great. And they click onto it and they buy something through Hilton, get a room through Hilton through your site. They get a 60-day or 90-day cookie embedded in their on their computer. So generally whenever they go anywhere travel related, they're always going to see the Hilton site come up for a Hilton thing. So you'll still keep getting money from that same person every time they click on to traveling for you. So you're not gaming the system. You're making money by doing that, and you're giving the people the product that they want. So it's a wonderful way to make money in addition to what you're doing. Your podcast is about. It's thinking outside the box.
It's
For
fair,
me, it's always
Tim.
thinking about yeah.
No, it's good stuff, and I would also suggest Amazon has this similar affiliate links, and
They
if
they
you're
do they do, but unfortunately, the commission rates for Amazon are so poor People still do it, and it's okay. And you can make up your own store on Amazon, but for the percentage rates on Amazon generally run from 3 to 5%. While if you get a legitimate affiliate link from, say, a Hilton, you're looking for anywhere from 10 to 20%. So I'd rather give me the money, show me the money. I want that 10 to 20% instead of that 3 to 5%. But
There,
Amazon is also a legitimate choice.
there you go, brother. No, good stuff all around. We appreciate that. I think a lot of people in this room, all of us, are really looking at all sources a lot of times, making sure that you're um, maximizing your income generation with that anything you're doing. So, producer Jimmy, you flashed real quick. Go on.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in. I think what Tim is suggesting is really smart. We call that sometimes some people call that mailbox money, pocket money. I definitely have affiliate links myself. I just want to throw in a word of caution, a big, big, big word of caution on this, because there's a big difference from their perspective, from let's say Hilton, from Hilton's perspective on being having someone sign up as an affiliate versus them proactively sponsoring the show. So using the term that they've sponsored your show could get you into a little bit of legal trouble, not
Agreed.
necessarily just with Hilton, but with a variety of things. So what I would suggest that the language, which is a lot safer, would be to say something like, if you're enjoying the show, I happen to be an affiliate with Hilton. They're a preferred brand of mine, and I have links in the show notes for how you can da 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 da. Da. And so that allows you to still collect that mailbox money, still have the link and all those kinds of things, still mention them as being affiliated, as you being affiliated with them. But if they hear that they are a sponsor of your show, and I'm speaking generally, just using Hilton as an example. If they hear that they're being labeled as a sponsor of your show and they haven't actually contracted with you for that, that could just get you in some hot water. So I just wanted to throw out a word of caution. I'm complete.
And I completely agree with that. Completely 100% agree. I misspoke, obviously, but that route is absolutely the best way to do it.
We appreciate all these tips. You learn from everything. Each one of these is an opportunity. Nobody's forcing you to do any of them. You could say, I'm going to try a completely different path. Go for it. But we're just a big believer if somebody else has been successful doing something, maybe rather than banging your own head against a wall, you could take those tips and guidance and say, I think I'll start with these people, the tips they shared. So Tim, producer Jimmy, thank you. Okay, we need to meet. Okay, let's see Tom. Tom, look at this. I'm enjoying it. I love bios. Founder and CEO of Happy Being Well, providing women the most stylish and comfy yoga leggings, natural skincare, natural candles, essential oils. Rita, it is nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. Share a tip, ask a question.
Hi guys, loving the conversation. Just listening in. I don't know. I don't really have a question. I got a podcast of my own, and I don't know. I just actually like the idea of podcasters sharing affiliate links. I never even thought of that before. I don't know. I don't have anything to offer
You
unless
you do. Well, we're glad you're here. You're somebody new, and we are all in this room for a reason, Rita. So maybe somebody reaches out to you in the back channel, follows you, and who knows? So we're gonna continue. We're gonna meet Lois and Beryl. Lois, I've met Lois before, but I'm glad you're here, Lois. We're really dropping tips now. Drop a tip, ask a question, and we're gonna meet Beryl, I think, and then we're going to let you all go enjoy the sunlight. After that, Tom's going to give us this meaningful wrap up, and I'm going to ride his coattails because I've said it.
No
Set it
pressure,
up.
apparently. I
Yeah.
just got to come up with something profound in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely profound. Don't you hate when somebody drops you in the, hey, drop something profound? You're like, what? I got nothing. So, Lois, drop something profound. Go on.
Oh, geez, no pressure or anything. You guys drop something profound. Well, I have I think that everybody has something of value to bring to whatever place they're holding space in, right? So, Rita, I think I read your profile, and I think it's an amazing profile. And if you wanted to come on to Ever Mindful at some point and talk about your leggings and your skincare, you can do that. This is all about collaboration. I've utilized Clubhouse to help myself come out of my shell and bring out my talents, and helping others just be able to grow and learn from each other. So my tip would be just stay in spaces around Clubhouse that are positive, and want to work collaboratively with people and create, and you're going to do great. That's what I've learned from being around these Clubhouse rooms, and podcasting and all of social media, is not take anything for granted. Don't take anything too personally, and always do your best and be authentic. So those are how's that for profound? Did I do it?
You nailed it, man. That's how you come in and do
Whoop,
it.
whoop.
Yeah. Give it a whoop whoop. You need Tom with all this video skill you have. You don't have a sound effects button where we could make like whoop whoops and things like
Oh, are you
that.
kidding me? That's why I come in. That's why
Yeah.
you whoop whoop.
Okay, Lois, we're gonna need you here weekly. You'll have to stay the whole hour. There we go. He delivers.
How about
Doctor.
that? Was that good enough? Was clapping good enough?
And
That
he
was
did,
fabulous.
and he did that fast. So I take back everything bad I've ever said about Tom.
But I'm
Do,
pumped.
yeah, Dr. Tachi, what'd you want to add?
Nothing. I just wanted to laugh.
Laugh,
That's it.
laughing is good. Okay, we appreciate you. Okay, now Tom, we are on to Beryl, who is. Let's see. That's because I'm going to read this whole one. DM podcast. Hold on here. I'm reading multiple streams of income. We've been talking about that. Okay, Beryl, you are up, my friend. Ask a question, drop a tip.
Hey everybody, my name is Beryl. I am from the sunny South Africa, Johannesburg. Pretty new on Clubhouse, and I'm so grateful for all the lovely connections that I've made. I am an aviation engineer by profession, but obviously when COVID hit, I started pursuing my passion projects, which are voiceover, and I just started doing some sound engineering and podcast editing. So I've got a question. So quite a few of my clients are interested in doing me offering services over and beyond podcast editing. My most recent request was show notes. So I know high level what show notes are, but I just wanted to kind of get a feel of any tips and tricks around that, because I'm not keen to turn anyone away. And again, I'm also not keen on trying to do anything and everything. But what I've noticed is, so especially when I started doing the podcast editing, in Africa, things like podcasting aren't such a huge thing. So I'm happy to be introducing that to some people. So I do work with some sound engineers on the side, just on um outsourcing some work. So I'm also interested in outsourcing those kind of things. I really am very passionate about maybe strategy and possibly podcast production. So a lot of clients come to me with different requests. So some people want me to maybe consider doing distribution. So I'm not saying I'd want to do it on my own, but I'd want to get enough information to be able to say, okay, fine, I can outsource it, especially in Africa, because people are hungry for this kind of knowledge. And so I just wanted to find out, do you guys have any tips and tricks on how to kind of figure out, or just to know exactly what you're doing with show notes? Thank you.
I'm gonna ask producer. Did producer Jemmy leave? Oh, producer Jemmy left.
We got Dr. Tachi though. Dr. Tachi's ready to.
Dr. Tachi, why don't you share some tips on show notes? I am a knucklehead when it comes to show notes, so I'm not the right
Oh,
person for this.
I'm
But
in the knucklehead club too. I'm useless because I generally tend not to do them, and I think the reason is because it is a little bit of work that I don't do show notes. So I don't know. Yeah, Jemmy would have been the perfect person for this.
right,
I'll just add real quick that I don't know about you guys, but I tag like crazy in anything I'm doing, not like other people, but into the metadata of tagging when it allows you to, like I can put Talex Media, I can put Dr. Tachi, I can put, so anywhere with books, with podcast, anything, I live in the metadata space of adding anything somebody might search that I think somebody might search. I'm adding into the metadata of and so you guys, you might call it show notes where somebody might transcribe the whole show, which you can do. I go in and add the tag specifically. So when Tom shares this live stream, I will go in and add Tom's name. I will go in and add Talex Media. I'll add Motivation Champs. I'll add Dominick Domasky. I'll add motivation, podcasting, all these words that people might have searched. So when people are looking for that kind of content across the internet, there's one more chance that the algorithm looks favorably on my content. So how's that for an answer?
Sounds good. I'm happy with that input. You've given me something to add, like, to my to-do list. I'm happy with that.
And you can also go back in, and I've started doing this with my YouTube videos, and I saw one bump up to that had 100 views. All of a sudden it bump up to 14,000. You can go in and add tags to videos you've made in the past, go in and edit and things like that. So maybe it was make sure you're maximizing those titles of shows and things like that. So, okay, Tom, last one, then Tom's going to take us away with something profound, but of course it's going to be profound. I don't know that I've met Jesse before. Jesse, now I'm pushing follow. Food and lifestyle blogger. I wish I could have a show about food. That seems fun. So Jesse, welcome. Share a tip, ask a question.
Hello. Thank you so much, Dominic, and thank you for all the amazing insight so far. I've never listened to this room live, so I'm just tickled. But yeah, my name is Jessie Sierra Ross. I'm a food and cocktail blogger and photographer, as well as a club host, moderator, and creator over at the Food Blog School. And I actually have a question. After discovering Clubhouse and the real value and power of having an audio social media app, I've discovered I really enjoy that connection to the greater world through voice. And I've started to become a guest on different podcasts, whether it's by food and drink or motivation, starting my own small business, or even the power of having a plan B, which has been kind of my mantra in life. I'm curious, how do I, as a guest, find more podcasts to be on? Is there a central sort of database, a website where people go to find a guest? Because I have a lot of different things I love to speak about, and I would love to add value to my greater community. So my question would be, is there a website, a social network, or even groups here on this app where I should be frequenting so I can become a guest to a larger audience? Thank you. This is Jessie, and I'm done speaking.
Okay, I'll hit a couple, and then maybe Jess has some answers to this. But I use Podmatch. That's a website. It's sometimes you can get it free, sometimes you have to pay. They give you so many free ones, but for me, I can scroll down through, and I have a lot of authors that I'm trying to connect with, podcasters and things too. So Podmatch is good. On Facebook, there are a bunch of groups that are I just wrote down one that I remembered. It's podcast guest experts. So there's a lot of those groups on Facebook that are find a guest, be a guest. They actually have the hashtag find a guest, be a guest. So I think that might be a good aspect. Rooms like this, there are rooms on Clubhouse where they're all podcasters. There's podcast rooms, like producer Jimmy has a room. It's all podcasters just talking. I jump in, you share your story, get in the back channel. Hey Jess, as somebody started this show, were you do you find guests anywhere? Are you getting yourself on shows anywhere?
Yeah, so Podmatch is good. There's also Audrey. There's also another one called I think it's called Podcast Directories. But to your point, also the Facebook groups are great. For me, I've never used any of them. But I haven't heard anything bad about them either. Um, I've I've always just been me and kind of just networked with people and just kind of built that relationship and fostered it from there. And you know kind of I just call it creating magic as one, when you're your most authentic self. But those are all great things, Dominic.
Thank you, Jess. Jesse, hope that helps you. Tom, we've come to a new top of the hour here. So everybody, I'll just say thanks for all who passed by today whether you spend 2 minutes here or 5 minutes, much appreciated. Glad to be a part of it. So that's all I have, Tom. I got nothing profound. I lean on you for the profound stuff. So go on, my friend.
Yeah, no, never any pressure to come up with something profound. But yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, obviously, I want to say thanks to everybody who came through this week. Thanks to everybody who dropped some knowledge and some inspiration and shared some wisdom with us and with everybody else here in this room. We appreciate you guys. I meant earnestly when I mentioned earlier that I would love for folks to share this room, to share the live stream, share it outside of Clubhouse, share it on other social media platforms, and let's look for ways to sort of grow this community. I think we've got a great community building here. One that's supportive and inclusive, and stocked with tons of knowledge to share, so that we can all grow and improve in our different and varied endeavors. So please share the space. If you enjoy it, if you find something of value in it, I'm sure other people in your network will also. So please share it out so they know about it. And for me, what I'm taking out of today is from Niatima's story earlier, to just make sure you're always biting off manageable chunks. Making sure that the tasks, the next steps you set for yourself are always manageable and easy to achieve. So you walk in, if you're nervous networking, if you have difficulty networking, next time you walk into a room at a networking event and you feel overwhelmed, just go talk to 3 people. Right? The next time you feel overwhelmed, just go talk to 3 people. Take a small step forward. And then the other thing I'm taking out of this room today, the other big thing I'm taking out of this room is from William sharing with us about his work as a STEAM teacher. I am actually really excited. It's on my to-do list. I am excited to start reaching out to local high schools here in my community, to explore opportunities to get in front of the student body there and help teach them about ways to tell stories, ways to use their media outlets and their platforms to do some good in the world and to shine a light on things that they believe need some more attention. And then lastly, I already have open on my page an affiliate link program for the program, the system that I use for my training for my Ironman races. I use them already anyway. I like their program. I 100% believe in it. And I'd be happy to share their affiliate link. So I already have it open to start to become part of their affiliate program. And then I'm going to start sharing affiliate links from them on my social media as I continue to put out my Ironman training vlog. So there's tons of ways to do it. I that's 3 things that I got out of this room today off the top of my head, right? So maybe not profound, but actionable. And I think, going out and creating action and moving forward can lead to profound results. So that's my wrap up for today. Thank you to everybody for being here again. I don't know if it was profound, but I used the word profound plenty of times. So hopefully that counts. So thanks again to everybody for being here. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We love doing this room every week. You're the reason why we do it. So we'll give you a quick count out and we will go ahead and end the room in 3, 2, 1. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week.